Alright, so we're going to take a look here at Megan's Kipping muscle up. Kind of break it down and then talk about a few things that she's doing right and maybe some things she can work on. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. So she just mounted the rings. She's going into her backswing. And really that's a pretty good backswing. She's got an arch in her body. You see that the hands are slightly turned out. That helps kind of free up the shoulders a little bit during that backswing, but it also keeps pressure on the rings as you're swinging back. So she's swinging back, she's able to press down and out on the rings, which assists with the backswing. Because when you forward swing, so your feet are coming to the front, there should be some pressure kind of in and back or down in the front swing as well. So that's a good kind of turnout, heels reaching, no real big break in the body, shoulders are open. That looks pretty good. And for something like a Kipping muscle up, it doesn't need to be much bigger than this. She's not, completing a dismount or anything like that. She's just trying to get up on top of the rings. So this looks good. As we come forward, we're nice and long through the bottom. Me personally, I usually just like people's eyes to stay fixed in one place. So maybe keeping the focus forward. But it's not, that's getting nitpicky. But in a regular swing, try to keep the head fairly neutral. And then let's see, as we're coming up in the front swing, we're already getting some bend in the knee. Many will start trying to correct this knee bend. And as long as they're long through the bottom, as they're coming up, the knees bending are not a big deal. It's more the hips flexing and staying flexed. So if the knees start to bend, it can actually be beneficial as we start to initiate the kipping movement, or like the hips up that you always hear people yelling over and over. And it's because we're starting to shorten our lever and for faster rotation over the bar or over the rings. And it's also going to start initiating a heel drive. And that's where we're starting to pull our heels back. So if our heels are coming back towards us, then it's going to facilitate our chest coming forward. So heels move back, chest move forward, as if we are initiating like a forward flip or a front flip type movement. So the knees bending is actually okay as long as we're long here through the bottom. This is where we don't want knees to bend. We want to have this stretched out position because we want to go from long to short. So then as she comes up, knees start to bend. This is also where we should start seeing her change from this closed hip position to an open hip position. Now we do see some shape change there. I would probably like to see this become a little bit more neutral. So I'd like to see the hips open up just a little bit more, and it should happen in a fast, snappy movement. It should not look flowy, which is kind of hard to see in a slow motion kind of frame by frame that we're doing. But it should happen very, very quickly. It should open up completely. Heels should be down. It could be legs straight or heels down, kind of like that. And but we should see that really quick opening right before we start to close back up again to initiate that forward roll or front movement over the rings. So we need to see those hips extend just a little bit further. And then as she's turning over, this is probably where I see most of the issue. So what's happening is as she's turning over, her feet continue to drift up. So what happens there is if the feet are moving up, we're creating backwards rotation with the legs. So what's happening is if the legs go this direction, it's making our body want to rotate that direction while we're trying to make our chest go this direction. So we're kind of running into ourselves to some extent. Does that make a little bit of sense? So we want the heels to actually pull back so that way the shoulders can move forward. So we want everything rotating in that circular movement. So we shouldn't see the legs going up. We should see them come back. So we'll probably see it now that she's getting on top of the rings. See how the legs are moving back, which is helping the shoulders move forward. We want that to happen earlier though. We want to see that happen as the hips open up, as those shoulders start coming forward, Right now, those legs, those heels should be driving towards her butt, towards the back wall, and instead they drift upwards, kind of creating the backwards rotation of the legs with the forward rotations of the chest. And so that's just creating some inefficiency there. So what I would have her work on is trying to get the heels to pull towards your butt, pull towards the back wall as the shoulders are going over the rings.